Today, let's dive into ThoughtfulGPT's spreadsheet integration. This product demo will show you how to use our powerful spreadsheet macros and tools to transform individual cells and batch process data. We'll use a few of ThoughtfulGPT's custom macros to identify and assign unique sentiment scores drawn out from our employee feedback engagement survey. Our goal today is to chart out the average employee retention risk by team and compare it to average tenure to see which areas need our attention. We'll use a recent employee satisfaction survey to forecast attrition, risk by team, and with ThoughtfulGPT, this process is as simple as A+B equals C. First, let's calculate the average tenure of employees by team. We'll use a basic formula macro to come up with the formula, then drag it across the dataset. By the looks of it, the average tenure across this hypothetical organization is just over 4 years. Not bad for a startup. Next, we will use our custom macro to prepare the sentiment data from each employee for sentiment scoring later on in this demo. Let's create a new tab and set up a blank spreadsheet. We'll grab the relevant data from our raw data tab to paste into the sheet. Then, in column A, we will fill in $entire_row and grab our employee survey analysis macro from our widget to paste into column B. We are almost ready to process our data. But let's first make sure that our variable is pulling in only the relevant context from columns to the right of this queue. Let's remove the columns that aren't relevant to this scoring exercise. In this case, we only care about written employee feedback, so we will take out the rest. For our $sign variable, in column A, count the number of columns we want to include from the data set, starting at column E. In this case, we only need 6 columns, and the $sign variable will pull in all the row's relevant context as a one-off context macro in our cell. Now that we have our context prepared, drag that variable across the whole data set in column A. By combining our macro for employee sentiment analysis with the employee feedback we pulled from the columns E through J, we are finally ready to start processing our data. And we'll batch process 10 rows at a time, so we can supervise the task. To process a batch of 10 rows, fill in the number 10 in the widgets field called Rows to Process, then press A+B equals C to begin your batch. As an important tip, please make sure to treat the AI's output with the same care you'd give a brand new intern. Give them clear instructions and check their work. After reviewing the output, it looks like the macro behaved as expected, so let's keep investigating this data set to see how we can maximize employee lifetime value. Next, we'll grab the AI's work and paste it into our raw data for scoring. Then we'll set up a new spreadsheet and funnel the analysis into another macro to quantify the risk score. We'll paste the AI's analysis output in column A so that our risk scoring macro has the context it needs to run its process. To customize our macros, let's make sure we're logged into the system and click Add Macros. Give it a title, a brief description, and type in the command. Assign a group to keep things organized, then click Submit. Now, the macro is saved and ready for you to use the next time you do this analysis. Let's populate the macro in column B to prepare for processing. And again, we'll supervise this task in batches of 10 to make sure the macro is behaving as expected. You can ratchet up the number of rows to process as you press A+B equals C, and the AI will fill in all the blank cells awaiting completion. After we're done, we'll paste this data into our raw data tab for a deeper look into the health of our organization. To make the AI's data output useful, we'll use our spreadsheet formula builder to extract our risk score from this column. Type in what you want your formula to do, then apply the basic spreadsheet formula builder macro to transform the cell. For this example, we'll have ThoughtfulGPT create a regular expressions formula to grab the total risk score from the column. And before we investigate this data any further, let's practice using the formula builder macro one more time, just for the fun of it. Now that we are armed with more quantifiable data for analysis, let's take the final few steps of analysis together. As you can see, we've set up a quick pivot table to look at the average tenure by team, as well as the average risk score per team, peppered with the minimum, maximum, and standard deviation of each team's risk score. For today, we will keep the analysis simple by charting out each team's average tenure and average risk of attrition. With the framework of increasing employee lifetime value in mind, we should identify those teams that have a high average tenure, as well as increased levels of risk, extracted from the satisfaction survey. From the looks of our chart, our creative team, customer success team, marketing team, operations team, and sales team could all use a closer evaluation to come up with a strategy to keep these long-standing employees more engaged. After we check in with them, we can follow up with the executive team, the product team, and the admin team to reduce their risk as well. Conversely, since it seems there might be lower risk of attrition within the engineering, finance, and people teams, we should chat with those employees and leaders to see what we can learn from their team culture and try to replicate their processes across other teams. This can help improve outcomes for employees working on those teams that show signs of risk, helping them become more engaged and more connected to the company's mission. So to recap our work today, we just completed a complex sentiment analysis and data scoring exercise in just a few minutes. By using ThoughtfulGPT as a collaborator, you can apply the same principles we learned today to tackle your other projects in a snap. From lead generation to social media posts, expense tracking to project planning, all you'll need is a sprinkle of creativity and our powerful AI macros to get the job done at lightning speed. For more tips and training, please reach out to our founding team at support@thoughtfulgpt.com. We'll make sure you have all the support and resources you need to unleash the full potential of AI onto your toolset. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you're as excited as we are about the incredible possibilities ahead. Have an awesome week. Cheers, everyone.